Ready?
Ready.
Okay, so we're coning up with the base of the left hand, or the base of the non-dominant hand into the knuckles of the dominant hand. So we're going to anchor to the left and push. So you grab onto your own hand and swing in. So your wrists don't touch for the cone up. You swing into the palm all the way up. Add water, and the dominant hand is going to shift up to the top and crush down into the anchored non-dominant. So again, we're grabbing on, swinging through. The clay should move first. So we're not lifting the clay up, then we get that little like volcano top. Instead, we're squeezing the clay and chasing it. And then shifting up over the top and crushing it back down. Hook the left hand. That non-dominant hand, we want to hook it as we catch, so we make that little groove, and then you can drop right into centering the dominant hand across the top. Line your knuckle, this knuckle up with the center. We're only pressing with the blade of the palm. Once it's centered, quick note, we just want to make sure that this line is right through the middle of the wheel, so we're not over here or we're not up there. Once it feels centered, we're going to drop the thumb on the back of the hands, punch in. I use my middle finger with the ring finger and pointer finger along for the ride. Hook right into the base of the palm. We're pulling right into here. I'm going to smooth it out from the outside to the center. Should do like 2 or 3 of these. Alright, so then we're on to pulling. So we're going to shift and anchor on the dominant side with our dominant hand on the outside of the pocket. So the first pull is gentle. You can get that wheel speed going and then take your foot off of the pedal. So you can just focus on the pull. So we're applying more pressure from the outside, letting it taper off as we get higher up, just so that the top winds up finished. We want like everything there up to be done so that we can pull the rest of it up from underneath. The second pull, we're going to cut in. So I'm using these 2 fingers, cupped on the outside, supporting the inside corner, cutting underneath. That way we get that big groove. The middle finger and ring finger are going to sit under the groove. The pointer finger is going to sit right on that little peak. Get your thumbs together or the inside hand braced on the outside hands. Scooping and pulling. It's important that that pointer finger stays above the pressure to keep the clay from cascading out your hand, folding back on, and then coming off as like a loose ring. The last pull, so we're supporting on the outside and pressing the clay out over the outside hand and then getting underneath it. You can see that big bump. That's my finger pushing through the wall. So that's how, if you ever have that little piece of clay, that little thickness at the very bottom right before it turns into the floor, you get rid of that by pressing it out. So now the bottom has that little outer bump, so you can get underneath it with the inside hand. So we're not always mining clay from the floor. In that instance, we're mining clay from the bottom of the wall. And we'll do a collar, so we're going to curl the pointer fingers in, turn the hands down, and lead with the middle fingers and thumbs, supporting with the curled pointer fingers. I like a lower wheel speed when I collar, so you're not fighting that expansion of the clay. Rest at the rim, and compress. We're going to soak all the water out of the inside. Just for good measure. When you collar, what these are doing, the pointer fingers, are preventing this. So if the pointer fingers aren't there and we squeeze, we get that going on. If the pointer fingers are there and we squeeze, it comes in nicely. They're just sort of supporting. Alright, to cut the bottom, we're going to lead with the blade up, dropping it down and in on an angle, diverting clay away towards the wheel head. Flip it, place it flat so the blade is flat on the wheel head, and we're going to swing the tool away to create a nice obtuse angle to divert that little ring up and onto the tool. Alright, splash a little water around the base of the pot, spool your wire up, pin it down, and draw it through. I always draw through once, and then just like give it a little nudge, and if it's not moving nicely, then we just keep wiring. Pointer fingers and middle fingers to pick it up. Pointer fingers are right on that beveled edge that you carved. They scoot until it's just hanging off the end. So they gotta come back a little bit so you can get the middle fingers underneath, and then once they pop under, they can close that gap again. Ooh. And we'll put it on the table, leading with that corner, and we'll cut it in half to see. I feel like this was more than a pound and a half. When you get to the bottom when you're cutting it, really give it a second, give it a little wiggle to make sure you get all the way to the table so you can see how thick the floor is. And what we're looking for is nice even walls with a nice thick floor that we can carve a foot ring out of and no excess clay down here at the bottom.
Thank you.